I want to start off by saying, thank you to the both of you. It was such a beautiful day, and I'm so honored that you let me be a part of your special day. Allie, you look absolutely beautiful today. Mr. and Mrs. Frankie, you did a great job on Allie. She's one of the kindest, most generous people I've ever met in my life. Dave and Brenda, you tried your best. I'm kidding, of course, I love it. I want to start off with how I met Eric. We went to preschool together, so we knew each other since we were 4 years old. I didn't have any friends going to preschool. I actually didn't even meet any kids going into preschool, so this is my first social interaction with children. I remember my mother dropped me off the first day, and I was terrified. I couldn't stop crying. The teachers had to calm me down, so we finally had playtime. They gave me the first choice of toys. I saw this dinosaur. I was so excited. It was the coolest thing I saw. I wanted it. So they gave me the first choice. I grabbed the dinosaur. All of a sudden, this little blonde kid walks up to me. I think you all see where this is going. But grabs a toy right out of my hand and says, "This is mine." I thought I was actually making my first friend ever, but someone stole my toy. Moral of the story is, I started crying. My mom had to pick me up early. Who would have thought that little blonde monster would grow into my best friend ever? I've always been a little weary, I love Eric. He's my best friend. He's closer than family. I've always been a little weary, anyone that dated Eric, I got to keep the guard up. But then Eric introduced me to Allie. First time I met her, I thought, she's a pretty sweet girl, but, I needed a test to, actually prove it. So I went to Eric's college, Bryant. We were playing some card games, a little adult drinking, and I remember Eric was sitting on the armrest on the chair. Allie was sitting on one chair, I was sitting on the other one, Eric was sitting in between on the armrest. Allie leans over to me, she's like, "Brett, does Eric need a booster seat to be as tall as us?" And then that's when I knew she was the girl for my best friend. I want to keep this short and sweet, and I'm going to stop with the jokes right now. I do want to say I'm truly honored that you let me here. I love you more than life itself. You're my best friend. Your family. You're close to the family. I love you. I love you, Allie. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of today.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Brett, thank you very much for those very special words.
So it's really been an amazing day. I've known Eric for basically my whole life, and I don't think I've ever seen him have a bigger smile on his face than when him and Ellie said their vows, and after he walked up that altar, walking her down that aisle. I really don't think I've ever seen a bigger smile on his face than right then and there. These two, I don't think two people deserve each other more than these two sweethearts right here. Both of them just absolute sweethearts as people. I know that there's 3 people in this world that get mad at me when I don't call them and update them on what's happening in my life. That's my mom, my sister, and Eric. As a friend, he truly wants to be involved in my life, and he wants me to be involved in his life as well. And so when I moved halfway around the country to go to college, it was tough for us. But we promised each other we'd constantly be in contact. We make calls when big events happen, or just every other month to keep in touch. And I remember one call our sophomore year. He calls me up. He's like, "Maddie, I met this really cool girl. I want to tell you about her." I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Go for it." Well, luckily it wasn't long distance, because about an hour later, I'm thinking to myself, I really need to meet this girl, and does she have a sister? And so, and obviously this girl is Allie, sitting over here, and a couple months later, I'm on school break, and I come back home, and I finally get to meet this girl, and having talked to him many times, I have this huge expectations for Allie. And, she met every single one of them. I remember her walking up with this huge smile on her face, and just gave me this huge hug, and she's like, "I'm so excited to finally meet you." And that was a huge deal, because as everybody knows, the Lekstrom family is big huggers. And me personally, big hugger as well. So that was a huge deal. And the entire time that day that we first met, she was genuine about really wanting to get to know me. And as the day went on, I realized I'm like, this is a female version of Eric. I'm like, he's found the one. He's found the girl that's him in female form, and that was awesome. And so I go back to school. More months go by, and I get another call from Eric, and he goes, "Listen, Maddie, I need to talk to you about something." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, man. What's going on?" He's like, "Man, I really think I'm in love with Allie." And the second he said that, it really hit me. I'm like, man, it really warmed my heart to hear him say that, because I love this guy. He's the biggest sweetheart in the world. And just, having met her and seeing how awesome she was, and seeing them together, and he was like a little kid when he talked about her. He just got so excited when he would ever talk to me about her and say things about her. I just knew that he was head over heels in love with her. And it was just awesome to hear my best friend say that. And, the years have gone by. Here they are today. Allie's put up with a lot of our shenanigans, partaken in a few of them. But, I'm truly happy to have been able to see them from the start and then see them grow into the beautiful couple and the beautiful husband and wife that they are today. And so I'd just like to raise my glass and say, I love you both, and I wish you obviously the most happiness possible in the future. So I love you guys.
Cheers. Matt, great job.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Kelsey. Allie and I have been friends for 21 years. Meet that, Eric. First of all, I'd like to thank the Lekstroms and the Frankies for putting everything leading up to and including this gorgeous wedding together. So Allie and I met when we were 4 and 5 years old. The true story of how we met is I went to go take a walk with another friend of ours when I was 4 years old, and then I see Allie coming home from church on the front lawn, and that's how we met. Her crazy tale is how she was riding her bike down our street, and I was up on my front lawn, and she said I was lording over my stuffed animals like a queen. I mean, it's a little far-fetched, but in any case, the rest is history, and we've been friends ever since. Okay, I can't look at you anymore. So, Allie has been, Allie has been the person that you guys all know her to be now forever. She's been genuine and kind, not this early, and just the most loyal friend anyone could have. My mom said from the time she was 5 years old that she's going to be a friend you have for the rest of your life. So to see you this happy, it means the world to me. And then there's Eric. Now, like Brett said, I was wary on people, any guys that came into Allie's life because, just to be cliche, in the simplest terms and the most convenient definitions, you're more than a best friend, you're my sister. And I was, apprehensive for anybody to come into her life. That being said, Eric was actually sprung on me, and I didn't know it, because she was more nervous, I found out later, for him to meet me than her parents. I'm gonna take that as a compliment. So then I meet Eric, and I get to know him, and one of the first nights I really got to know him, Eric, Brett, and Allie and I all went out. We're sitting at a table, Allie goes to talk to some people, and she comes back a couple minutes later, and we're all in tears, among a chorus of, I love you, man. It ended up being that Eric started talking about family and friends, and he started talking about, Allie's the one for me. Now, this is a couple of years ago, so hearing him talk about his family the way he does and his friendships and how much they mean to him, that's something that's dear to my heart, and that's something I wanted for Allie. So with your friends and your family and your new wife, you have my 100% approval, no take-backs. Okay? It only took till today. So I just wanted to say to you two, everybody in this room knows what kind of people you are and how amazing you are to friends and how generous and just wonderful and giving you are. And I'm glad you found each other, because you will now know how we feel with each other. Because you guys are going to give each other the best love that you've given all of us. And I just want to say that I'm so happy that you guys found each other, and I'm so proud to be standing up here. And I just want to say I wish you a lifetime of happiness, but I don't have to wish it because I know you're going to have it. I love you. To Allie and Eric.
Cheers. Kelsey, great job.
Hi everybody. I'm going to be the amateur that typed out her speech because I'm too nervous not to. I'm Amanda, if you don't know me. I'm Allie's matron of honor, and we met in elementary school, but we really became close in high school. I'm the oldest of 5 kids, and I have 3 sisters, but I've always considered Allie to be my older sister. Even though we're almost the same age, Allie's 3 months older than me. I've always looked up to her for her confidence, style, athleticism, and especially her ability to just make friends wherever she goes. Anywhere Allie goes, work, school, wherever, she was making friends with people. So I've always really admired that. Like a little sister, I copied her hairdos, I copied her makeup, I bugged her for rides because I didn't have a car. And Allie never complained about driving me around because she knew I didn't have a car of my own. And that is just a really simple example of how Allie is such a generous person. I know you've heard this already from all the other speeches, but that's because it's true. She's just the most generous person that I've ever met. She's always listened to me, all my worries and struggles that I've been through. Allie's always been there for me no matter what. In college, we used to write emails to each other to keep in touch. I was all the way in Texas and she was, really far away from me, and it just made me feel so much better getting that email from her and just hearing her encourage me and keep me going no matter what. I used to joke to Andy, my husband, that I would never find another Allie at school because none of the other girls that I met were as genuine and just nice and caring as Allie is. And as we've gotten older, Allie's continued to show her generosity to me. She was the maid of honor at my wedding a few years ago. She always comes to see me and my family when she visits New Jersey, no matter what, even if she's really, really busy. Page 2. So Andy and I went on vacation with Allie and Eric a couple years ago in North Carolina. And at the beginning of the trip, we decided to go to the grocery store to just get some food. And much to Allie's dismay, Eric decides we should buy some lottery tickets. And I'll admit, they're usually a huge waste of money. Me and Andy ended up winning $50, so we were psyched. That was great. And I look over at Eric, and we'll say he had a handful of tickets himself, none of which had won. But he looked at us like he had just won $1 million. He was so excited for us to win $50. And that's just the kind of person that Eric is. He's in it for the ride, and he's so happy when other people are happy. I've only been married for about 4 years myself. Sometimes my husband says it seems like forever. But here's some of my marital advice. Let both of your big hearts continue to give throughout your entire marriage. You can't give 50% to your partner, you have to give 100% all the time, even when it's really, really hard, when you're going through hard times. Be the first to say you're sorry, or try not to fight at all. And remember that you're just each other's partners in life now. Through good and bad, you're there for all of it. Knowing both of you guys well, I have no doubt that you're going to have an amazing marriage and a happy life together. I love you both. Let's raise a glass to Allie and Eric.
Cheers. Amanda, thank you very much.
I want to thank everyone for coming and sharing this day to celebrate Allison and Eric's wedding. And as I look to Allie, I reflect on the years I've been lucky enough to watch her grow and become the beautiful woman she is today. Allie captured my heart in the day she was born and has always been my princess. Every day she has brought joy to her mother and me, and while not every day has been perfect, the love I share for her has been. She will always be my little girl and my ray of sunlight, no matter what age. So today, Allie has joined hands with a wonderful young man. And in addition to the sparkle I've always seen in her eyes, today I see love and joy there beyond anything I've seen thus far. Eric really treats Allie as a princess, and I know the two will have a wonderful, happy life together. And so Valerie would like to say a few words.
Okay, so when Allie was in high school, and even after that, getting on to college, she would say, Mom, I don't meet any good boyfriends. I just don't meet any good boyfriends. And I said, when you go to college, you will meet a good guy. You will really meet a good guy when you go to college. And I felt so strongly about that. So when Allie was at Bryant, and then when she introduced me to Eric, I felt immediately he was just the special guy. He had, or you still do, you always did, have this amazing smile that kind of puts a glow all over you. And he just came at me and smiled, and I said, oh, I was charmed. I was charmed. And he was just so warm and generous and meeting us and helping out with Allie move. He was just great. So I really knew that was the reason Allison was supposed to go to Bryant and not Bentley. and Eric was at Bryant and not Holy Cross. Okay. So over these years here, I've seen how much Eric truly cares for Allison and Allison for Eric. And I've seen the smiles and the laughter. I've seen the support, the consideration you two have for each other. And I've seen you share those milestones, those graduating college and moving to apartments in Boston and getting your careers going and advancements and all sharing together. And with all of this, you two have just grown together in it. Just grown perfectly side by side in parallel and just meeting everything that came at you. You're just growing together in it more and more, and you're growing together stronger, more secure in yourselves, more secure in your love. And today you've made that commitment for your love, and you've joined each other in marriage. And today the jewel of my heart, my daughter Allison, she's married to the most wonderful guy, Eric. And I am so happy for her, and I'm so happy to call Eric my son. And now I have a second jewel in my heart. And I thank you, and you're beautiful, and all the happiness always.
Thank you, Valerie. Great job.
Well, this was especially important for me to do because if you saw Eric earlier at the altar, you know why this is going to be difficult for me. Waterworks. But, you know, what a beautiful day. It's truly amazing to see so many friends, family, all gathered here for such a great cause. And for people who don't know me, my name is Ryan, and I am Eric's older brother. But Eric is more than a brother to me. He's my best friend, and has been just with me every step of the way. Our entire family. Aunts, uncles, people that aren't even blood relatives. That our family does. And so that also makes us very protective of who he brings home. And when I first met Allie, first glance, gorgeous, sweet, smart, the whole nine. But I knew she had an uphill battle because anyone that knows Eric knows he can be very stubborn and hard-headed. And I'll tell you, I knew when it all changed, when he started bringing home food from Whole Foods. No ramen noodles, no mac and cheese, Whole Foods, salmon, and sushi. And I said, that's a compromise. And if he's willing to do that for her, and that's just the beginning. That's just the tip. And for me to be able to finally have a sister in Allie, I truly couldn't be more grateful or blessed in the world than Eric by my side, to have the family that we do in this room. Just truly grateful. And today, you two go home and you'll be able to start and share your lives and realize your dreams. And I'd like everyone to raise a glass, please, and join me in wishing these two remarkable souls continued love, happiness, and prosperity. I love you so very much.
Cheers.